Funding Nav provides funding and advice around funding to start-up and scale-up businesses. The word I'd sum up to being a founder is inquisitive. My drink of choice is tea. What piece of advice would you give an aspirational founder? Don't be afraid of failing. I think that fear of failure holds people back, and failure is inevitable. It's happened to me much more frequently than success. And now I run a networking event which is all about failure. And I really try and help people to understand stories of failure, why failure is just part of the journey on the way to success. And I think that, lots of people just don't even start something because they think it won't work. That's no reason not to start. What motivated me was a failure that I experienced personally myself. And whilst I was dealing with trying to raise money for that business, I found myself sitting across the table from a number of very disconnected, unempathetic advisors. And I thought to myself, when I get out of this, I'd like to sit on that side of the table, and I'd like to offer that kind of the support which I'm not receiving to others. What makes your company different from all the others in your sector? So I run several different businesses, but the main one is Funding Nav. Funding Nav provides funding and advice around funding to start-up and scale-up businesses, and lots of other businesses do that for sure. And the difference that we offer, our USP, is that we're not ex-bank managers or accountants, but entrepreneurs. We know what it's like to have to make payroll on a Friday and not have the money to do that. We know what it's like to lose sleep. And I think that the empathy that we offer is the USP. When and what was your biggest hurdle? Actually, Brexit was my biggest hurdle. I founded a furniture business, and the business was basically reliant on the ability to be able to acquire customers profitably on the first sale. After the Brexit vote, quite literally, immediately, even before the legislation was passed, two things happened. Firstly, the cost of acquiring customers went through the roof because people started to get very nervous about spending money, and therefore I think that we found it cost about 40% more than it cost like the previous week to acquire a customer. And secondly, the cost of acquiring the products went up because we were acquiring product in dollars, and the exchange rate slumped. So we went from a position literally overnight from being able to acquire a customer profitably on the first sale to not. And that was like night and day because we literally didn't have the funding in place to be able to manage that transition. And that's what ultimately led on to the issues that I mentioned earlier around the failure of that business and why I started Funding Nav.